Trophy.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
NBA players that found fame after one play. The NBA has provided the basketball community with some iconic moments and plays throughout NBA history that have lived on. Some are highly emotional, like LeBron James' block and Kyrie Irving's dagger 3 that won the Cavs their 2016 championship. Others are simply inspiring, like when Reggie Miller scored 8 points in just 9 seconds and mocked the Knicks with the iconic choke gesture. But it's undeniable that one play can change your career, for better or worse. Today, we'll be taking a look at the NBA players that found fame and became viral after one play, and not always for the right reasons. Before we get into it, don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to our channel. Number 1. Jeremy Lin. On February 3rd, 2012, the New York Knicks had just blown a fourth-quarter lead to the Boston Celtics that would give them their 11th loss in 13 games. New York had multiple injured guards, and the team was playing terribly that day. So Knicks head coach Mike D'Antoni decided to go all in. No pun intended. With his team about to be embarrassed yet again, D'Antoni's other 3 point guards had failed at running his pick-and-roll system. And even though the Knicks were very close to waiving Jeremy Lin, D'Antoni gave him a chance in a game that was already lost. Nobody could have seen what was going to happen next. Lin came out of nowhere to score 23 points and dish 7 assists to everyone's surprise. After the game, D'Antoni said that Lin got lucky because we were playing so bad. You have to have luck in this league, and he got a bunch of luck. Perhaps it wasn't so much luck. After that one amazing game, the Knicks went on a 7-game winning streak in that remainder of the lockout-shortened season. Lin went on to outscore and outplay other big guards in the league, like Darren Williams, John Wall, and even Kobe Bryant. On a night where the Knicks beat the Lakers and Lin outscored Kobe 38-34 and led his team to the win. After sitting on the bench for most of the season and spending time in the D-League, Lin was a rotation player for the Knicks' last 26 games. In the offseason, Lin became a restricted free agent, and the Rockets offered him a 4-year contract that the Knicks didn't hesitate to match. The Rockets doubled down on Lin and countered with an even bigger star-level contract offer that the Knicks decided not to match. However, from that moment on, Lin only showed a few glimpses of Linsanity. After the Rockets traded him away, Lin played for 5 different teams in the next 5 seasons and is currently in the Chinese Basketball Association. Maybe Mike D'Antoni was right, and Lin got lucky that one first night. Number 2. J.R. Smith. The Henny God J.R. Smith was known as a ferocious dunker early on in his career, before mastering his three-point shooting and becoming more of a hot-hand, sharp-shooting role player in the latter stages of his career. But after the 2018 NBA Finals, everybody knew J.R. Smith's name. Not because he made a big shot or because he won his team a game, but because J.R. threw away one of the biggest potential upsets in NBA Finals history. With just under 5 seconds in Game 1 of the 2018 NBA Finals and the game tied at 107, Cleveland Cavaliers guard George Hill missed the potential game-winning free throw. J.R. Smith came out of nowhere, somehow grabbed the offensive rebound in the middle of a super crowded lane. Instead of attempting a shot or passing to an open teammate, Smith rushed towards half court with a few seconds left in the game winding down. LeBron James, who delivered one of the most amazing NBA Final performances ever with a near-flawless stat line of 51 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, screamed and shouted at a disoriented Smith, who wasted the clock and sent the game into overtime. After the fourth quarter buzzer, James questioned Smith in disbelief, wondering what was going through his head. That slow-mo replay is still one of the favorite memes in the online basketball community. The Warriors went on to beat the Cavaliers by 10 points in overtime, and Cleveland ended up being swept. A Game 1 win would have been huge for a Cavs team that was heavily outmatched talent-wise, as Golden State had 4 of the best 5 players in that series. But Smith became famous around the world after screwing up because apparently thought the Cavs had a timeout left and tried to secure the ball. Number 3. Jason Terry. If you're not old enough to have watched the NBA in the early 2000s, you might not remember Jason Terry was a pretty good point guard back in the day. He was one of the first true scoring first point guards the league had ever seen, as he enjoyed lighting up opposing teams with his three-point shooting abilities. And even though his athleticism and physical abilities waned as the years went by, Terry made himself famous after being a star-level player in the Mavericks' 2011 championship run. The particular play that made Terry's name known nationally came late in Game 5, when Terry hit a dagger three over LeBron James that put the Mavericks up 108-101 in the game that gave them a 3-2 series lead. The Mavs never looked back, as they won their only championship in franchise history after Game 6. And even though Dirk Nowitzki was named Finals MVP, Terry is a huge part of why the Mavs won the 2011 chip. Terry returned to the national spotlight 2 years later when James got his sweet revenge. During a mid-March regular season game between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade stole the ball from Jason Terry. Wade passed it to Norris Cole, who was ahead and close to the basket, and Terry quickly returned to the paint to defend the ball. However, Terry never saw a trailing LeBron James, who caught a beautiful alley-oop pass by Cole and threw down one of the best posters in NBA history over Terry. Terry said, "The worst thing about this is every time that I'm in arenas or at the grocery store, kids are coming up to me saying, 'Hey, aren't you Jason Terry?' He says, 'Yeah, that's me. Why did LeBron dunk on you like that?' I'm like, come on, man. I thought you were going to ask for an autograph or some pictures." Perhaps being nastily dunked on by James made Terry more famous than throwing that legendary three-pointer over him 2 years prior. Number 4, Nick Young. Swaggy P was one of the most popular social media NBA players of the 2010s decade, thanks to a couple of hilarious and equally disastrous situations. One of them was the mega famous Confused Nick Young meme, which was born in the web series called Through the Lens, in which they follow a day in the life of athletes and celebrities. Another one was a scandal with former fiancée Iggy Azalea and then teammate D'Angelo Russell, who recorded a video of Young admitting to cheating on Azalea. However, none of these were on-court moments. The true play that made Nick Young famous was both hilarious and disastrous at the same time. The moment came in the last seconds of a Lakers blowout win over the New York Knicks on March 25, 2014, when Young launched a step-back three over Tim Hardaway Jr. After he shot it, turned his back to the basket, started celebrating, lifting both arms up with 3 fingers up. Shortly after, Young realized his shot had rattled out and threw his head back in disbelief. The play went viral, making rounds on social media and even being showcased on Shaqtin' a Fool, Shaquille O'Neal's segment on TNT, where he highlights recent NBA bloopers. Since that moment, you rarely ever see players not named Stephen Curry who dare celebrate shots or turn around before they actually see the ball going through the hoop and net. Thank you, Nick Young, for giving us NBA fans so many hilarious moments throughout your career. But this was undoubtedly your biggest masterpiece. Number 5, Lance Stephenson. Speaking of hilarious players, few other players fit that description as well as Lance Stephenson. Once a pretty solid starter in the league, Stephenson has transcended in time thanks to multiple hilarious gifts and moments he's been the author of, and not so much for his on-court play. Always a fan of putting the E on the NBA, Stephenson loves bringing the entertainment to the hardwood in different ways. The most famous of all Stephenson's occurrences, and the one that truly cemented him as an NBA meme legend, came during a playoff battle versus LeBron James and the Miami Heat in the 2014 playoffs. Back then, Stephenson starred for the Indiana Pacers alongside Paul George and was willing to pull out his unorthodox bag of tricks to try and play mind games with King James. Stephenson tried it all that series. He was overly aggressive on defense. He made some obnoxious celebrations, and he even got into head coach Eric Spoelstra's huddle to try and disrupt Miami's focus. The weirdest, yet most famous trick of them all, blowing in LeBron James's ear. Stephenson was asked about that infamous moment a couple years later when he became teammates with James for the Los Angeles Lakers. He said, "I was really trying to just get him mad, really trying to win the game, trying to get him unfocused. I tried anything. It really didn't work out." As even though the Pacers barely got the win in Game 5, in which Stephenson blew in the ear of James, the Heat closed out the series in Game 6. Stephenson added, "I don't regret it, but sometimes I look at it like, why did I do that? What made me do that?" Don't worry, Lance. We all do. And finally, number 6, Tyronn Lue. Before winning an NBA championship as a head coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016, new Los Angeles Clippers head coach Tyronn Lue was known for one thing and one thing only: being the guy Allen Iverson stepped over. That's another one of those moments that stood the test of time and makes its way back to social media every couple of months. Every year on June 6th, you'll see anniversary videos of that iconic moment. Most NBA fans have seen the clip, but many ignore the context it happened in. There was less than a minute remaining in overtime in Game 1 of the 2001 NBA Finals. The Sixers had a 2-point lead, and Iverson's crossover and ensuing jumper gave Philly a 4-point lead that they never gave up. But Iverson didn't really break Lue with the crossover. Lue actually contested it well, but tripped after watching the shot go in. That's when Iverson made the infamous step over. AI has gone on the record saying he doesn't like the hype the step over gets and that he loves Ty Lue. Iverson said, "He was giving me so many problems. He was harassing me, a straight dog, and he was harassing me so much. What's so crazy is that I don't know how it happened. Like when I stepped over him, I didn't know I did it." That moment, yeah, it was dope when you look back on it, but I don't like it. Even when AI doesn't like it, this moment is the perfect example of how one play can make somebody famous. Literally nobody would have remembered Ty Lue's playing career if it wasn't for this moment. Luckily for him, Lue's made up for that moment with a solid coaching career and will look to win his second championship with the LA Clippers. And these were our favorite NBA players that found immense fame after one play. Which one was your favorite? Who should we add for our future part 2 video? Make sure to comment below. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications to watch more amazing NBA content as soon as it drops. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.